Jim, why is debt so normalized? I want to talk about that in this video here, especially in the US, where basically there's an interesting statistics. I was looking up like what is the average net worth of like people my age, Generation Z, and I think Google results said like negative 40,000. And you're like, net worth? Okay, like what does net worth first mean? Let's define that. Net worth equals assets minus liabilities. Assets are basically like liquid, like cash, like stocks, like Bitcoin, like crypto. All these are assets. These are basically, you can exchange them pretty easily within each other. I guess even you could say your house if you have mortgage. But basically, they are things that increase your value, I suppose, like money wise. And then liabilities are pretty much debt, like the minus part. So let's say your how much you have to own to the car dealership to have your car, or maybe your maybe student loans, maybe even a loan, maybe credit card debt. This is liabilities, right? So basically net worth is how much money you have minus how much money you owe, basically. And a lot of people in the US, in Gen Z, I saw that statistic, minus 40,000. That's pretty fucking bad, dude. And I want to kind of look into this because I realized that debt is so fucking normalized in the US. And like I was thinking of it like friends and families and whatnot. I was realizing like how much they are in debt, and I'm like, dude, what the fuck? This is like a lot of fucking money. And they're just like still living the day by day that like, oh, well, it's nothing. And like, they're just like, oh, well, everybody has debt. Like, it's not really such a big deal. And that mindset in and of itself, that everybody has fucking debt, is so fucking crippling to the mindset, I believe. Because again, it just kind of goes back to people care about their status more than their actual objective position, I feel like. Because the fact that, oh, other people around me have debt, so that means it's okay for me to have debt. Like, that's what the people have psychologically, because other people are like that. And this makes sense because human people are sheep people, we're herd people. We basically follow trends of what other people like to do. So yes, that makes sense psychologically, right? And I kind of want to talk about in this video with debt, why it's normalized, what you can do, what I suggest, and all of these wonderful things. So me personally, I'll say for myself, I have some debt because I did the LASIK surgery, and I'm also paying off a little bit of the credit card and then some of the student loans. So like I have a little bit of the debt. So, but for me, it's not like super unmanageable. I can pay it off like within a couple months or so of me just having some discipline habit. So I should have it pretty much removed. But like some of these people in Gen Z, they have like so many years of debt that it is really fucking bad. Like they have so much fucking debt, it's gonna take them years. Like some people are literally in debt forever, and they have to just pay the interest to basically not fucking die. And I will tell you that in Gen Z in the US, people, the biggest sources of debt is number one, student loans. So student loans, when you go to school, you have to pay tens of thousands of dollars for a degree that doesn't even get you anything, because degrees are no longer that valuable. They are basically like a benchmark for you to actually get like a job, I guess. But still, it's to get you to bare minimum. It's not actually making you stand out that much as having experiences in the field. And another thing with debt and student loans, it costs so much fucking money. I mean, to be fair, there's like subsidized loans, which are low interest rate ones, but those are pretty limited. A lot of people I know are in a shit ton of fucking debt for a student loan because they went to school for that. But even when they went to school for it, they got like a bullshit degree, and then they're basically not really using their college time as effectively, I suppose. So a lot of people financially are in this situation because of student loan. And second thing is car. So car is like, a lot of people, they buy cars that they can't really afford. So they're going to buy a car that's like tens of thousands of dollars, and they're like, oh, well, I can just pay them monthly and it's not that big of a deal. Well, yeah, the interest rate is like 7% or something, or you only have to pay like $500, $600 a month on it, and you got the car insurance and you got your gas, and then the maintenance. Okay, now suddenly it seems like it's $1,000 a month for some new car that you got, and they're basically chained to pay that car off for the next couple years or so, because these aren't cheap. They're like tens of thousands of dollars, but people buy them when they barely even have like a few $1,000s in their own bank, and they're like, oh, well, I will just pay it off in the next few years. But the thing about this, mindset is that you have all this debt, but basically you're chained to that possession you have. And of course, like having car is important in America. If you don't have car, then you can't get around. So actually as a utility case, but in that case, you don't have to buy like a super fancy car. You can just buy like a really old one, like a Corolla or a Nissan or a Honda. Like you can buy these cars that are very reliable and they only cost like a few $1,000s or very small monthly payments, and then it can pretty much get you from A to B. And that's what cars should be, but cars are now a status symbol. And people want to play the status game of like, look at my Dodge Charger, my BMW, I look so fucking cool, and this is why I'm so much better than you. But then you look at their lifestyle and their finances, and they are heavily in the fucking red every month, or they're barely even breaking even, and you're just like, what the fuck are you doing, right? So I was basically realizing with the debt culture in America, it's really fucking bad, and it's those main two sources, I'll say, is the student loans and cars. For my generation at least, I think like if you were to say like third things are like consumer spending, so they're gonna spend on random bullshit, takeouts, and they put it on their credit card. So there's a credit card debt, and they have it on high interest. So credit card debt's like 20% APR, which is like pretty fucking insane. And like 20% APR, that's like 2-3x of like the stock market returns basically. So like you look at this and you're like, okay, well that's kind of sucking, and it just fucking sucks. And what I'll tell you is that like debt, its main purpose in the current system is very, very evil, but they have this debt culture and they put all this individualism on people in America of late stage capitalism, that you have to basically be the wage slave and earn this X amount of money an hour. Oh, you make so much money in America, and then they tell you, oh, you got to buy a car and you got to buy a house and you got to show that you're better than other people and be that individualistic person, get the better job, get the better promotion, so you can increase your life line, your baseline, and become that G in your friend group. This is the psyop that they push you to do. And this, of course, basically promotes the people all the way at the top of the elites, the people who basically control these labor and want them to work for them for a very sustained amount of time. And they want people to do well in these places so they can get these little ass raises, so that they can spend more on their own things, and they'll also have long retention at that job. So they'll have labor they can trust and sustain for months at a time, because these people are having to pay off their car for many years. So it's very, I think it's kind of fucked up, but whoever designed that whole system is very, very clever, of course. But of course, that's like the whole reason for debt. The debt is basically a way for you to be chained to slavery. And people say that slavery is abolished or whatnot. No, slavery is still very, very real, and to this day. It's just basically renamed as that, basically. And it's just so normalized. A lot of American people aren't really having the freedom to move countries or move out of their job or basically do anything spontaneously based off their own intuition. A lot of people don't have that option because they're chained to debt. And I find that very, very sad. And the thing is that America, for you to actually achieve that level of freedom from the debt, to basically do the budgeting or the financial stuff, to increase income, or to learn how to multiply your income, all of these skill sets are very hidden in the internet. They don't teach you this in college. They actually hide that internet information in the real world. And it kind of is very sad to me, I think. And they push a lot of people to basically become unhealthy, to be having all the lights on them and be very eating the junk food, eating the McDonald's, having the LED lights on them, so they're very unhealthy. And then people have sleep problems and they can't sleep, and then they just basically aren't able to be productive to actually pursue these extraterrestrial things to get them out of this slavery. So it kind of just leaves them in that spiral, and a lot of people are kind of stuck. And that's what I feel like it is for a lot of people. Me personally, I don't know what's the solution for these people. Like, if you were to give me an example of somebody who is, I don't know, 35 years old, they have wife and kids and like one kid, and they are in $100,000 of debt from student loan, and then they have like a job that pays them like 60,000 or whatever the fuck, and then wife is like bitching at them or something. I don't fucking know, bro. Like, a lot of American people have this life circumstance, and I really don't know how to say, except that it's a very, very hard life you have to live where like you would have to cut all the bullshit expenses. You have to somehow learn how to increase the income. You have to basically be your own accountant, your own CFO, and track every single dollar that goes in and out. You have to do increase in your income. You have to own assets. Like, it's a very long-term game. It doesn't really get solved in a day or two, because a lot of people that are in these situations have compounded years of negligence to get there. So you can't expect to just not get out of debts in a day. It's like the exact same thing with weight gain and weight loss. I got so fucking fat in like 15 years, and it took me years, like 10 years, to get that fat off. So like, it's the same mindset. And that's pretty much all I'm saying in this video. Why is debt so normalized in America? The summary of this video being that, well, the reasons being is that there's the student loans, the car debt, the consumer spending, and this is all like a clever brainwashing psyop system onto the American people. Oh, you got to work so hard, you got to be the better person, you got to be so individualistic, and you got to get the cool car, and you got to basically flex on your friends and whatnot, just so that they can retain labor for the least to have, to basically make them more money and whatnot. And this is like, of course, late stage capitalism. We're basically living in a fractal, like a large fractal of the rat utopia simulation, and at some point it's not going to end well. That's my own opinion on it. I don't know. I'm usually a very optimistic person, but with this one thing, I don't know. But I'll tell you that. And solutions, well, financial stuff, basically, you want to cut down your expenses, the bullshit ones, and then you have to track every dollar you go in and goes out, and then you have to find out how you can make more money, and then you also have to find out how to own assets. And I still think that for the next 5-10 years it's Bitcoin. And if it's not Bitcoin, then I don't fucking know. But yeah, that's what I'm trying to say in this video, and I will see you guys.